Hey everybody, I have a video here for you today. And while I was home here for a couple hours before I have to really get going for the day, I was looking through messages. I wasn't planning on making a history video today, but this is the way a lot of my videos are made. I just look at a question, look into it, and then hit record. But we are going down to Milton, Vermont, near the shores of Lake Champlain. And I had a question, and I just looked into this briefly. I thought it was interesting, and I'm trying to make a video in every state as far as ancient America, and wasn't sure if that was possible, but I'm kind of rolling along here. But this is the site of an ancient Indian mound in Vermont. Now, Lake Champlain is huge, and it is very long, and it is kind of like the Finger Lakes near the site near Auburn, New York. But how these lakes were created at the end of the last ice age, well, I think I go to Randall Carlson for that answer. But somebody wondered about an Indian mound in this area, and I looked into it. And this is what I found, and I thought this was pretty unique as far being this far northeast. But the more I learned about the ancient United States, these mounds were spread out all over. There was probably over 250,000 mounds originally when the settlers got in here, and then they just started removing them. Now here is a very old pick. This looks fairly unique. It looks like it has steps all the way up, or something that is right underneath the surface of the sedimentation and the grass and everything that's growing on here, including trees. Looks like there was a structure put up here. But this is the Indian mound, and it looks fairly unique. Obviously very important to whoever built it. Who knows how many years ago? Now here is an old map of the area, and this place has obviously changed, but they had a bunch of different things here, some old camps. It says a nudist colony there, but it does have this old Indian mound depicted right here. Now this is Everest Road coming down here, and this is BB Hill Road right here. Now here on Google Earth, this is the BB Hill Road, and this is Everest Road coming down. So this is that road depicted on the old map. And I'm sure it's fairly the same. But down in this area here, there was, or maybe still is, an old Indian mound. But to me, what's ever left, the most obvious location is right in this area right here. And I don't know if anybody lives around here, but that seems to be the most logical site based on this old map here. If we go back to Google Earth, that old Indian mound should be right in here. This is obscure Vermont, and I will leave the link below. It says, a year ago I stumbled on an old photo which fascinated me. The photo depicted a large mound of earth dubbed as the Indian Mound. It's a vague description locating it somewhere near the shores of Lake Champlain. Was there an Indian mound in Milton? It says, I have traveled the many dirt roads of West Milton all my life, but have never seen a geological formation like this before. If there was such a mound, surely it would be of great importance. Why was it so discreet? Do people know of its existence? And the most heavily weighed question, where was it? Going on here, it says, speaking with Lorinda Henry from the Milton Historical Society, she explained that the mystery about the Indian mound was far greater than the information about it. After digging through stacks of papers and unlabeled binders at the Historical Society, I was able to find my first clue that the mound was located near Camp Everest in Milton, a hidden area off a series of remote back roads that don't receive much traffic other than the locals, and a name that may very well be lost to many Milton residents today. It says Camp Everest, the southernmost of Milton's lakeshore camps, was established in 1878 by Zebediah Everest and A.W. Austin. And here is a pic from the very early days of Milton on the shores of Lake Champlain. But this is how it was explained. It says, she explained that the mound itself was probably formed during the Glacier Age, most likely the remnant of the St. Lawrence ice sheet that once covered this part of North America. And it says UVM did some digs around the mound in the 1950s, and they found nothing of Native American significance, but they did find old seashells and a few fossils. Now, remember the mound site? What was the most common artifact found in there? Ornamental seashells. And it says of those seashells, evidence of the Champlain Sea, the tropical sea which covered what is now Vermont millions of years ago. That's why the shells were in the mound, because this, well, that's almost too ridiculous to repeat, so I'm going to go on here. The existence of an Indian mound is also curious because Vermont was never thought to be associated with the mound-building Indians. But then again, at one time it was thought that Native Americans never settled in what is now Vermont, but Milton farmers would constantly find artifacts and arrowheads while clearing and plowing their fields. Now, when looking into this site, a few things caught my eye. Here is an old pic of the area, and on this hill or this bluff up here, there seems to be a geological formation. Did they look at this as something sacred? Well, I certainly wonder about that because that fits in with other sites. Here is another pic. This comes from 1968. Here is the mound covered in snow. When looking around this area of other reports of ancient ruins, there is some controversy of these. What are these? But these are ancient mound builder burial sites. Some of them were buried in stone cairns like they have in Scotland. But here is just one of them that I found. Where was this found? This is found right near Milton, and it's obvious there was an ancient settlement here, an ancient mound builder's site. And then this history has been kind of forgotten, not really cared about, and kind of, as you see here, covered up and lost. It says, it was explained to me that the mound was eventually purchased by the grandson of the Hutchins family, the Everest lease most of the land where the camps sit, but her grandmother, Ethel Everest, sold the mound to them. The mound and the camp are still there, and as I assumed, is now obscured, hiding successfully behind a Vermont forest, an ideal getaway. So it's pretty clear to me we had an ancient mound in this site, probably more. We probably had a large settlement coming from maybe a couple thousand years ago, and when you look at the ages, it's really kind of a wide range that you have to look at. But other reports of mounds, well, I can't help but notice right down here, not too far away, there appears to be what's left of a mound structure in this farmer's field right here. That's just based on all my looking at this stuff over the past probably half a year I've been doing this now. Good grief. But if we go back to here, once again, I think the most likely spot is right in this area here. But I just want to show you something here. There was probably a large settlement and a lot of other stuff in this area. If we just go down to right here, this neighborhood here, I just look at this yard here, and this looks like other places, other parks where there is just remnants of sacred mounds. And that's what it looks like in my eye right here. But what do I know? That's just a possibility. But the history of Milton, Vermont, I found fascinating. And from the looks of this one, this looks fairly unique. Looks like it has steps or terraces. What this looked like originally, it's probably built out of a lot of different materials. But that is my look into Milton, Vermont. You had an ancient, very ancient mound building location right here that has been lost to time and apathy and people just saying, well, so far northeast, could we even have had an Indian mound here? Well, they were all over the ancient United States. Now, my last video, I said the Auburn, New York place might be the easternmost mound builder location, and then I get a message sent to me and I look into this today. Man, sometimes I really think I'm getting somewhere in this series, and then I just look into stuff a little more and I realize I don't know much at all. Hope you thought that was cool, and you all have a very nice day.